Some moments of television will last forever. Freddie on stage at Live Aid, Scott and Charlene's wedding, the moon landings, that first time we saw a Dalek. These will all pale into insignificance after this weekend's events. When we saw Bruno Tonioli, Bruno Tonioli, break character and become the voice of arithmetical and administrative reason. I love this show. And welcome to the Keep Dancing podcast. This is your 100% unofficial, unexpurgated, and hang on, I've lost the board. Does anybody know where the board is? Source of Strictly information. Somebody's got some applause going on in the background.
Not me.
Somebody's watching
Not
Strictly.
Me.
It's fine. It's gone.
Okay.
Not me.
Okay. Emily.
Sorry.
We aren't neutral. We aren't always polite, but we are able to count backwards from 7 sometimes. Anyway, I'm joined by Elliot, Anne, Vicky and Emily to talk all about the post-Blackpool lull. If you want to get in touch with us, we're on Twitter and Instagram at KeepDancingPod, and you could even potentially email us at keepdancingpodcast@gmail.com. Well, what was all that about then? That mess of an episode we call Post-Blackpool.
I mean, it just fell off a cliff and never hit the ground.
Oh.
It looked like they were holding it together until they hit the Lindy Hop-a-thon. Although, to be fair, the signs that something wasn't right were there from the beginning. Joe's hair was clearly a cry for help.
Yes. That was awful hair.
There was
all amongst this, Faye is just churning out a very competent, lovely waltz, which I think is just so indicative of her journey generally, amongst the chaos.
But she had
A pleasant
already
waltz.
broken Gio.
yeah, true.
He was quite quiet, wasn't he?
Yeah, well, I think he looked hurt. Well, we'll get on to him. Have we got any general comments before we start looking at individual dancers?
Oh, I do.
Oh, yes.
I think Craig aside, the judge's favouritism is leaking through a bit too much and it's beginning to annoy me.
Do you mean favouritism or, oh God, we have to make this person's journey look, realistic?
Oh, no, I think clear-cut favouritism. Just looking at the... Just look... Oh, Shirley and Bruno's clear favouritism to Joe,
Yes.
and Bruno's favouritism to Ashley, and the other three's favouritism to Charles Venn. They all got marks they shouldn't have got last night. And it didn't work for one of them, regardless.
Yeah, we only had a partial score reset.
I think Craig was the only fair and consistent judge last night. When you look at his marks, I kind of agree what he gave. The others, I was kind of going, what? I'm sorry, just very quickly, how'd you get a 7 from one judge and a 10 from 2 others? Feelings.
I'm just quickly editing the spreadsheet to see whether the average score did in fact go down. Because normally the week after Blackpool it goes down. It did go down. The average score at Blackpool was 34.25, and this week it was 32.285. So we did get a partial score reset. It was just lumpy.
Yeah. I think Graham's scores...
Anne?
I think once we'd had Graham's scores, I was thinking, oh, maybe we're having a proper reset, and then things just kind of went back to normal.
Well, I suppose maybe the scoring reset... Normally the scoring reset is a thing that happens where the people who were getting 40s stop getting 40s. They get reset down to about 36 to give the series somewhere to go. But I guess...
I think about 2 weeks ago they decided that Lauren and Graham had hit their journey high point, and since then I think their comments have been unfairly harsh for their journey that they've been on. And obviously comparatively to the Ringer situation, like they're never going to be that strong, but I feel like their comments in the last 2 weeks have just been borderline rude for what they've been churning out, which has been decent content, I thought.
Lauren cried after the Lindy Hopathon.
Yeah,
Did you see?
Bless her.
She was really, really upset.
I didn't see that.
Because she could have just stood there and got the same marks, but she actually worked it. Anyway, let's review some dancers. Dancing the quick step and fulfilling our requirements for Channing Tatum in a sailor suit, it's Graham Swan and his partner Oti.
That was weird.
Vicky, you weren't here last week, but last week we decided that we didn't like Graham and Oti's couple's choice routine, and that instead we were just going to tell everybody they'd done a recreation of the No Dames number from Hail Caesar, where
fine.
they were wearing sailor suits, and it's a big Channing Tatum tap dance number in exactly the sailor suits that they turned up wearing this week.
And they were dancing in Hail Caesar, they danced on Bio Barrel tables. Much like the ones in the background.
Yeah, so it's all getting a little bit weird now. We feel very seen. We feel like this is too big of a coincidence, and we feel like Oti has done this.
And she's quite potentially on the wind-up with us, isn't she? In a nice way.
Well, it's quite a long way to go for a shout-out, so thank you, Oti. So we had an enjoyable quick step, which I couldn't see too much wrong with.
His frame was a little bit off at times, but I think, like you say, it was perfectly reasonable quick step. And yeah, he had that unfortunate slip halfway through. I think the slower section, it looked a bit weaker because it exposed his weaknesses a bit more. But no, generally I thought it was like a strong 7 scoring performance.
So it was only 2 points better than Danny's quick step that went completely wrong from start to finish, apparently, according to our esteemed judges. Not on. Elliot.
I just think, just to quote what we said about Kate's quick step a few weeks ago, it was on the higher competence side of a quick step, and it was quick and steppy. It was fine. There was nothing horrifically wrong about it. That I could say. I mean, the dance-off, a bit more, offensive, but that was fine on the first time. I was like, yeah, that was fine. That was nice.
The only thing that Graham and Oti did wrong this week was still be here. It's the time. It's the part of the series where the show has decided they are now surplus to requirements and have to be got rid of.
It just so frustrates me that even though this is one of my favourite shows on the telly, this is how it has to work.
Well, I just put a suggestion out. That what about if Graham just gives up his sporting life and devotes himself to dance for a year, and then turns up as an Uber ringer for the next series of Strictly?
Oh, that'd be fun.
Oh.
I think it'd also really mess with some people's heads. Yeah?
Yeah, and I'm okay with that.
It wasn't.
Okay.
Anne, have we had you?
I can't really say much more than what's already been said. It was a very competent quick step, and it was just a shame that he made really noticeable mistakes, most of which, except for that big mix-up at the ends of the dance-off, he rectified all of those. I also really like the fact that Oti's choreography, even though it was a quick step, had slow bits and fast bits and together bits and actually went with the music. So actually a lot in that dance is very varied. And it was really competent.
It's never just a sequence of tricks with Oti.
It was just the mistake.
Yeah. In week 10, you're never going to get away making any form of mistakes. That's always going to be it for you. The fire alarm's going off here. I think somebody's cooking bacon. It's stopped now. Have we got anything else for Otie and Graham?
No more carpool karaoke on Instagram. Sad about that's the worst bit about them leaving. Graham's been great.
I think they might be buds now. What was your favourite Graham and Otie routine?
The Charleston.
Yeah.
Like him coming down in a Spider-Man outfit doing the Charleston. I mean, I'll never forget that.
I really liked their jive. And I also really liked the Engelbert waltz as well.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting to like that as much as I did.
Yeah. Oh, Graham and Otie. Oh. Dancing the samba and trying to work out if rose gold is actually significantly different to pinky sort of beige. It's Ashley Roberts and her partner, Pasha. Resplendent in feathers with LED fans in the death slot.
They were the only fans she had this week.
Oh my
with the four in their
God.
hands.
I can't believe you went there. I did really like the LED fans though. Although I wouldn't have gone for blue LEDs, I would have gone for warm white.
Yeah,
yes.
I liked the idea of the LEDs, but I didn't like the execution using blue LEDs in what was otherwise quite a muted palette for the dance.
And now we've had the LED chat. Let's have some dance chat. Elliot.
Eh.
Right, okay.
It's-
So I could tell that there was something not right about this samba routine, but I couldn't put like a technical term to what was not right about it. Elliot, tell me.
I think it was just too jagged and spiky. Like, it lacked a little bit of fluidity. Like, and we've seen Ashley, she can be fluid and do all this, and she lost a fair bit of that this week. I'm not sure why. Maybe I don't know, but it was lacking something. It wasn't bad, but it just wasn't great. And there just wasn't much fluidity, which for a Pussycat Doll who was a burlesque dancer, for her to lose fluidity through her core is quite impressive. Because that's what she was known for a long time. And it's just got to the point which we said at the start of the series that she is now someone who's very, very good, who knocked out one of our favourites.
The Destroyer.
But it's confirmed she's not even close to winning.
Yeah,
In fact,
no, she must have
was
been
joint second, and she must have been dead last at the televote. She must have been.
last or second last.
But yeah, it's just such a shame. I wasn't a fan of their outfits. They looked very much like when Claudia and AJ did the samba to a Lion King. Like, I Just Can't Wait to Be King, and they had those sort of like beigey, sort of feathery dresses and outfits on.
I'm pretty sure it was supposed to be rose gold and therefore very, very current, but it did under the lights just look beige.
It looked very beige, which was the perfect palette for this samba. It was just beige.
Samba should not be beige.
No, it should be fiery and red and pink. And I think if you've got bright pink fans, have a bright pink dress on, especially when they had them behind their back, like it was their tails or something. It just looked really bizarre.
We've already had a pink Samba, I think. That was Stacey,
Yeah,
wasn't it?
Stacey's. But that was like bubblegum, wasn't it, rather than...
Yeah, that was... yeah.
She could have had a sort of Parma Violet one, and that would have looked really nice.
Yes.
That'd have worked with the blue LEDs then as well.
Yeah.
Are we just fixing this dance now?
Yeah, we're just
Sing it. Is that not what we do this for?
Well, this is what we would have done better. Right. Oh.
Differently.
Vicky, you were muted, and now you're back.
I'm back. Yeah, I think Ashley is just suffering from a bit of. She is as much as she is like the ringiest ringer ever. She's trying really, really hard to be super good, instead of just great. And I think she was the sort of awkward staccato-ness of the dance, like came from that, just trying really hard with the technique and those bachacadas and everything else that was in there. Like, I think, yeah, it was a little bit too frantic from her, which is unusual. I guess, like, a lot of the other dancers have been in her comfort zone as much as she would never admit that. But yeah, I think. But I just love the way this dance was sort of like reviewed afterwards in the Clauditorium as like a bit of an awkward silence, and Claudia didn't really know what to say. It was like, oh, it's lower than you usually get. It's a 36.
Yeah.
Like, let's all calm down.
Yeah.
It's not the end of the world.
I know, it's like, oh, 36, terrible stuff. So yeah, that's what I thought about that. I thought Pasha choreographed a great routine, though.
I did feel like it had been suppressed with the combination of costume production and running order. But I don't know why you would want to suppress it. Because, like, surely you want Ashley in the final, and you don't want to expose how low her public vote is at this stage. Like, what?
Add into that, a bit like when Sean and Katia danced to I'm Still Standing, like, the public have in their heads for Hot Hot Hot, like, the iconic Mark and Karen routine. Perhaps that didn't go down so well either.
Yeah, 2 Mark and Carol songs. Mark and Karen songs. Oh, good God. Mark
All right, Shirley.
2 Mark and Carol songs. Carol. Her name's Carol now. In this week's routine. And, like, there's one of them that I would definitely have left on the shelf. And I also think there is other samba music. You don't have to go back to Hot Hot Hot.
The choice is not so limited for sambas, really.
No.
No.
No. And like, given that we did have one routine this week, which was entirely made by the music, I think that
later.
Yes, more on that later. I think that going a little bit outside the form book in terms of expected songs can, like, give you a bit of something extra. You shouldn't be clamouring for the song that's been in the charts. You shouldn't be going for the standard, like, dance school cha-cha song. You should be going for something that matches the dance, matches the character of the dance, and is something we've not seen before, to give you a chance to fit new choreography to something.
Can we also quickly talk about how awkward Pasha was with Claudia when they were talking about the Lindy Hop? When Claudia was trying to be funny and was like, oh, so you just stand still then? He's like, no, you had to do it like this and this and this. And was like, Pasha, you've just missed the joke, haven't you?
Oh, bless him.
He was being like really serious about it, and you saw Joe's face behind him. It was a bit like, I'm a bit scared to stand next to him and later now because I feel like I might get an elbow in the face. He was so serious, and Claudia's trying to make a joke of it. It just felt completely flat. I was like, oh, Pasha,
Humour
you
is
try
difficult.
so hard.
Humour is very difficult. But if you've got your game face on, which Pasha does have on Saturday nights, then you're not gonna pick up on Claudia's subtle and eccentric humour.
It was better than his acting face. I'll give him that.
Pasha's acting. Bless. Are we so? Obviously, that how do we think Ashley reacted to being in the dance-off?
Not terribly.
No.
Just sort of like I guess we do it again.
Yeah.
Could have been worse.
Yes.
Yeah, there was
Yeah.
no.
And there has been worse.
Yeah. I think she knew that if she just did what she did before, she would get voted more than that she would get through next week. There's no way they were going to vote her out over Graham,
I don't
even if
think
she
there
made
was
tons of mistakes.
any concern in her mind that she was going to get picked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If she'd have been in the dance-off with Faye, then she might have been a
you've got
little bit more worried.
Yeah. But yeah, it was kind of a no contest dance-off.
Yeah.
Yeah, as Bruno very bluntly / rudely stated.
Yeah, honestly, Bruno, I know.
Oh, really?
Like, yes, we all knew
One
that.
taste of responsibility.
I mean, we all know that Ashley was going to walk it. Like, there was no fear in anyone's mind. But then the fact he was like almost like laughing, saying, "Was there no contest? It's obvious I'm going to say fair." I was like, well, that's just disrespectful to Graham and Oti, who you've now just kicked off.
Yeah, thanks, Bruno.
Yeah.
He'd had a lot of responsibility earlier on in the evening. It had gone to his head, and he needed to be silly.
I think with any other professional, you'd have seen, like on their face, a bit of disappointment / devastation that, oh, we're not maybe done this as easily as I thought. But because it's Pasha and he doesn't care, like he just wants to go out and do some jolly nice dancing. Like it didn't register so much.
Yeah, Pasha literally is in it for the participation and the art of it, which
Yeah.
when he's surrounded by all of the other like hyper competitive ones is very, very endearing. Dancing the waltz and attempting to add most consecutive pivots to Giovanni's collection of Guinness World Records, it's Faye Tozer and her partner Giovanni.
So Gio should be injured every week, slightly, because
Just
this actually,
mildly injured.
there is a reason to this very weird comment.
All right, explain.
The reason he should be injured every week is because it meant he couldn't be over the top or anything, so it made Faye's technique and everything look so much better because it had to be simple. Because he couldn't throw his back out, so he was being very careful, so it showed off Faye a lot more because he didn't notice Giovanni. So he should have a twinge in his back every week, because it makes him not that he overshadows his partner anyway, but it made him focus more on his partner and take more care of her than himself, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And it really did allow Faye to show off how much technique she's learned.
I thought this was a lovely dance.
It was the kind of dance that you kind of watched and thought, oh, that was nice, and it flowed nicely, but actually there was a lot going on. There was a lot of technique, there was a lot of footwork. How she's not dizzy after all of that, I do not know, especially with her. She wasn't, well, she may have been spotting, but she didn't look like she was spotting. I would have been spinning round kind of and falling on the floor after about the first few seconds.
The bit that I really liked was they did make a sort of a point of it. Not a meal, but a point of it was when she went over into the full Natalie Lowe back extension. That was lovely.
Yes.
And
Oh, I miss Natalie.
yeah. Oh, Natalie. But if Gio's back doesn't recover, then I am like concerned about how Faye's going to go from here. In terms of dancers left, she's got an American Smooth, a Charleston, a Salsa, and a Samba, and an Argentine Tango. Like, if
I hope he's been laid flat on the floor
Like-
last.
Gio's back has to recover for all of those dancers.
Yeah. He needs to be sleeping on the floor.
Or Johannes can step in. And that was quite a reaction.
He was so good in that Sunday show. Oh, he stole everything he was in. He stole.
We didn't have you for Blackpool, did we, Anne?
No,
No, but
He stole Blackpool.
as well.
he just rules.
And you know, he was stood at the front of the closetorium quite a lot last night.
Yes.
He absolutely needs
Right.
a pro next year.
He
But
needs a pro.
He might
needs
get
a
one
pro.
next.
Well,
Yeah,
a
he needs a celeb next week. He might get one as soon as next week.
Yes. I don't know. It's like I really like
Yeah.
Gio. I find him quite funny and good. He's a good
Yeah,
dancer,
he is
isn't he?
good,
So,
like-
what with him being a professional and everything.
And you know he's good for the celeb ladies who need, I'm going to say, a little bit of polishing. Like, there's clearly already some dance skill and elegance there, and it just needs
Yeah.
a good buffing
Rounding
and
off.
rounding off. Yeah.
Yes. But I would also really like to see Johannes get a celeb. It will improve the show. The charisma factor will go through the roof.
Yes. What a mighty man. Vicky.
I mean, I don't really have much to add about Faye's Waltz, but I think Johannes will be, when Johannes inevitably gets a partner, he'll be one of those professionals that we just cannot imagine the show without anymore. I just think in charisma, sheer campness, humour, and like humility, I think he's going to tick all the boxes, and I think he's going to be fab.
A dancer who I can't take my eyes off when he's going.
Yeah, I agree, and like everyone said at Blackpool, he stole all the routines. I just hope, obviously we don't know much about his teaching expertise at the moment, and that is where Graziano fell down a little bit, so I hope he wouldn't let us down in that area.
We are absolutely rooting for you, Johannes.
I have a little staging point for Faze. They've not used that particular lighting drape before.
Oh yeah, I noticed that.
It was a new lighting drape they were using. It's nice, that one, the sort of semicircle of fairy lights.
Yes,
I was
all. Go on.
So I was just going to say, I was wondering how they put it up so quickly, because it looked like draped across the entire set. I didn't know how they put that up in one VT.
It'll have been on a like a mosquito net style hoop, lifted up using the lighting gantries, and then just spread around.
You should be stage managing the whole thing.
Yeah.
I would like to go and chat to the medium-sized prop wranglers as they do their dark deeds.
Prop wrangling.
When I was in the studio one week, though, like, I was mesmerised by the constant, rejigging of props for every single dance, and the size of the props they were bringing on in some circumstances, and like the anxiety I was having seeing that this VT was about to end and there's still like a set full of like props people like messing around. It was really stressful. They work super hard.
Well done, props people. Yeah, you rock this.
Yeah. Absolutely amazing. Stage crew, you rock this. One of the most fun things about going to a Eurovision as press and being in the arena is seeing the changeovers between all of the like absolutely mad staging, because they have got 45 seconds, and if it goes wrong, there is nothing you can do.
Actually, the stage techs and the stage crew are massively underthanked on Strictly, because they really couldn't do it without them, and they must be doing such a superb job.
I think we were talking about Faye and Gio, and we seem to not be doing that anymore, so I'm going to assume we're done.
I do apologise.
Yeah. Dancing a Couple's Choice Street commercial that launched a whole scrotum load of balls jokes. It's Joe Sugg and his partner Diane. Crime against television.
Your tone of voice then just sold what this dance was in 10 seconds.
Joe, you're testing us. Like, what was that?
I think that was called entertainment.
Was it though? I wasn't entertained because I had to like put my head between my knees and adopt the brace position.
I mean, a basketball-themed couple's choice to jump around never sounded great to start with.
And
it never got better.
No, I am really glad that the hair wasn't worse, because it could have been cornrows.
Ouch.
Yeah. Like that.
Yeah, I mean the man bun was upsetting.
He didn't need a man bun. We've had to take a break because our horror was sufficient that it crashed the recording. Dance-wise, so as with all the couple's choice numbers, it's so far outside commenting technically that I just have to comment on whether it made me feel happy or not, and it made me feel very unhappy indeed.
I think I lost I lost it when we just saw these giant basketballs come onto the stage. So I started rolling around on them between their legs, and I was like, okay, this is just... Now I feel like they're trolling us. Like, they're basically saying we can do whatever we want and we're gonna get through each week. This was so ridiculous.
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
The main reason I am struggling with Couple's Choice is Strictly Come Dancing mostly consists of dancers that have a certain percentage of time in hold. Whether or not that's a lot or not a lot, depending on whether it's ballroom or Latin, fair enough. But these Couple's Choice dancers seem to have mostly come down to side-by-side dancing. And that's not actually what I've got my head around watching. Like, I've watched Strictly for since it came back on. I've been watching it and I've got my head around watching that format.
It's about couples and the connection between them.
So them dancing side by side generally is not working for me. With this, I love House of Pain Jump Around. I think it's a brilliant song, but it's not a song for Saturday night entertainment telly for dancing to.
Also, do you think that in Joe's emotional pre-Couple's Choice video thing, they made his channel look a bit like he was doing niche pornography?
Yeah, a bit.
Like the stuff where he was like naked and covered in shaving foam.
And the balloons
and the
stuff.
balloons and the weird sumo suit thing. It did...
Yeah.
It gave the wrong impression of, I think, what he does.
Yeah.
Or,
I don't know, it didn't make, like you said, it didn't make me feel really happy. And some of these dancers make me feel very happy indeed. I didn't think it was bad, it's just not what I associate with Strictly, and that may be me being too much like, I've watched it since the beginning, so you can't change my format, it is mine. But that's what fandom's about, innit? To a certain extent.
Like, a totally unwarranted possessiveness over TV formats. To be honest, I think, and, like, owning my snobbery, I felt like that was a Britain's Got Talent routine.
Yeah. It felt more like that.
It was on the wrong show, my dear. Wrong show. Vicky, can you make anything of it?
No, it was just I was agreeing with what you guys were saying. I don't know. I still don't know what to do with this Couple's Choice element. And like you say, I can't really judge contemporary technique too well. And I found the whole thing quite upsetting. I didn't like how unfeminine the whole thing was for Diane in shorts and a thing that said 89. What is going on? Sorry, horror. And didn't know what to do with it really. I didn't necessarily agree with Craig's critique about it being off time unless I would miss something. I thought it did seem relatively clean, but yeah, not my cup of tea, not what I watched Strictly for. And every time I see something like this now, I just think of Bruce and what he would have said about it.
Oh, God.
Oh, Brucey.
Just to put that out there, sorry guys.
I didn't get it, but you're still my favourites.
Yeah, there's young people's things, but yeah.
And so, like, everybody thinks the street commercial is there to appeal to the kids. You've got a kid, and I know that this wasn't his favourite routine of the show.
No. He, basically, I think he was too interested in the balls. He wasn't looking at Joe. He just wanted a big ball to roll over on. Which ironically, Joe looked the most uncomfortable sat on those giant balls. It was quite disturbing.
Oh, we were doing so well.
I know. But do you know what?
I thought I'd got rid of like all potential for ball jokes by saying scrotum in the intro, but apparently there's still some left in there.
No. Oh, there's plenty more. But do you know what? The timing wasn't bad. The choreography was quite, fine. However, it was quite simplistic. And I would have liked them spent a bit more time doing actual steps than bouncing balls and throwing balls and sitting and the bit with the bench. I didn't get that either.
You know, when you actually, like, I was snobbish there referring to Britain's Got Talent, but when you actually see the proper street dance troupes on shows like that, and I expect we're going to see something like that on Otis' new show, The Greatest Dancer, which we may or may not cover depending on how much Cheryl is in it. It is actually mind-blowing what they can do with their bodies. But if you can't do that with your body like Joe can't, all you can do is the novelty tricks.
I think at the point when they needed 3 props to get them through that dance, something needed reconsidering. Yeah. Because they had the normal size ball, they had the towel, and then they had the big balls.
He should have just manned up and done a rumba.
Just do the bloody rumba.
Just stop arsing around and do the rumba.
Yeah. I wonder
what dances do they have left? Sorry.
Argentine tango, rumba, salsa, tango, Viennese waltz.
They've been very tactical, actually. Looking at those dancers that are left, they've been very tactical.
I think he needs to not do the salsa.
Yeah.
Agreed.
He's got a chance to show some emotional maturity with a rumba.
I don't think he'd be terrible at a rumba.
No.
I think he'd be fine at it.
Well, if you remember when it was your man Jay, and I was very concerned about his rumba, and then they actually did that very nice routine to the song from Once, and it was actually magical. Like, he could potentially pull something like that out.
Yeah, I think he's already shown that he can do some emotional maturity because of what he did at Blackpool. That had that kind of rounded feel to it, whilst it was quite fun still. And actually, do you know what? Why can't they put their head to it and give us quite a high-spirited rumba? It doesn't have to be fast, obviously, but, you know, if it's, you know, the dance of love isn't always serious.
A young person's rumba.
Are they worried it won't appeal to his young fan base and suddenly doing some serious lovey-dovey routine, perhaps?
Yeah, but his young fan base are shipping him and Diane. So I don't think
they're
there'd be a
allowed to appeal
problem.
to more than one fan base. They could get on board those kind of people that are already kind of going, oh, are they do they like one another? Are they a thing? Do they like one another? And just give it a bit of oomph, you know. It's doable.
I don't know, but like, it's still very much Joe's to lose.
Can I also say that the Strictly band doing Jump Around gives me nightmares?
Yeah.
Like,
oh boy.
What with that?
It was nice to hear the brass in the original sample, but everything else after that fell short.
Just oh.
And that is how song choice can really affect how your stuff comes over in your Strictlys.
That was a mess. And this is where the confusion comes in. How did he get 2 10s? Like, can someone explain that to me, please?
Because they don't know what that style of dance is, so they're just guessing.
But it made them happy.
Yeah.
They're in the same boat as us. They're not quite sure what they're looking for. There's no, like, they've not got, you know, knowledge in their head of what the bronze, silver and gold level steps are for street dance, because I don't know if it's even codified. But it made them happy, and so they got their 10s out.
Maybe like when you have a specialist choreographer to come in to do the Argentine tango and the Charleston, the judges get an extra lesson on how to judge a contemporary so that they're ready.
Back in the olden days, do you remember that we would occasionally have little VTs on what you would be looking for in each dance?
Oh, yeah.
They should do that.
Yeah, we really need that for the new speciality couples choice dances.
Yeah, because if the judges don't know what they're talking about, then how are we supposed to be guided to know that it's actually any good or not?
Yeah. Yeah, everybody's just going on gut feel, and gut feel is weird.
Yeah.
Who was last? Vicky, did you still have a thing?
I was just going to say I just enjoyed the judging of this routine generally. Like Craig saying it needed to be more homeboy. I mean, I'd love to unpick whatever that means. Like, what is that?
I didn't need Joe to be more homeboy.
There was sufficient homeboy.
I don't feel like that's a place he inhabits.
No, I mean, like, he's a trained apprentice Thatcher. Like, I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
This might get cut. The hose that Joe knows about are ones for doing your garden with.
Yeah, they've got a wooden handle.
Okay, it's gone wrong. It's gone badly wrong. Which is what the judges said, judging the Lindy Hopathon. Dancing a tango to a song that I've had sung at me my whole life and therefore utterly despise. It's Charles Venn and his partner Karen. I've got nothing because I just can't listen to any version of Eleanor Rigby.
Yeah.
He does like a crab.
It was not
crab,
a good version
Elliot.
of the
Yes.
song.
So it was Crab. He was a crab.
He was crab.
He was crab. He was lobster. He was langoustine.
Squid.
His,
He was
move-
every sideways crustacean possible.
his movements and the fact he was slightly into his knees, it made him look like a crab. And then his arms were facing upwards. He just looked like a crab going around the floor. A surprised crab. A very surprised crab.
A green
Oh, yeah, 'cause
crab.
The tango face did come off quite alarmed looking.
It was. This was so bad. So bad. Who's voting for him?
But
I felt-
he powered through it with enough intensity that I think if you didn't know what you were looking for and you were just going on gut feel, you would be like, yeah, all right, yeah.
Yeah.
It felt
Like, he-
lackluster.
I felt like they were going for intense and it came out like unpleasant.
It didn't feel right. The intensity felt strained, and then the sort of moments where they were concentrating on the intensity just felt a bit like they'd forgotten to do bits in between.
Oh well.
Never mind. He'll be out next.
He won't though.
No?
No.
Oh,
They've got people to vote for him now.
bother.
Damn.
Who is voting for him though?
God knows.
People who thought he'd been hard done by in the first half of
Yeah.
the series.
Oh, he hadn't. Trust
People
me.
that thought it was a conspiracy.
Conspiracy theorists voting for Charles Venn.
This was just not good at all. I mean, I wish I had more to say than that, but it was just.
Claudia needs to stop asking him to directly address the camera on the Sunday night show.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
He's so worthy. Isn't
Yes.
he worthy?
And very blessed.
Yeah, and humble. And
Yeah.
Yeah, so much more to bring to the show.
It's week 10, mate. You can't bring that much more.
You're running out of time.
We're just assuming that you're bringing all of it to the tour as well.
We're not wrong.
Well, like, I feel so. If Joe wins, Joe basically has to do the tour, right?
Yes.
yeah.
If Joe doesn't win, then the male lead of the tour will have to be Charles.
Yeah.
Does it have to?
Yes,
Yes.
it does.
It will.
Because he's the only one who's not busy.
He's the only one who's not getting booked.
Yeah, they've booked him and they've already painted the affirmations on his tour bunk.
Do you feel like he's got a lot further than the producers actually wanted him to get as well. And like, well, we're stuck with him now, so we've now got to make it last for another 2 months.
He is. He's doing the high risk rumba next week.
Ooh,
Oh.
And it's going to be a look how sexy I am rumba as well, you know.
it is.
It's gonna have
I
his
love
shirt
myself,
off.
Rumba. Should there be no shirt? Yeah, no shirt.
Just those those winkles.
Is it a seaside theme?
Those nipples winking at the stars.
I don't think he'd suit a wimple.
They're doing a rumba to climb every mountain.
Oh my god.
Oh my word!
Oh, you're serious?
No
I thought
one
you were
needs
joking.
to see that.
No, I'm joking. I'm joking.
Oh my god.
Oh, thank. Okay, I was.
The fact that we all believed it is really worrying. There was no question.
We want to see it now.
No, I don't. No, I don't.
No. Given that we nearly wished No Dames into existence, I don't actually want to wish a rumba to climb every mountain into existence. That would be unfortunate. Are we going to get a cabaret number? Is there anybody who's fun enough to do cabaret for us next week?
No.
No. Actually,
Ashley could.
pro side, yes, but celebrities, I'm not sure. Maybe Lauren?
AJ won't watch cabaret. He's worried.
Surely
No.
they don't watch
No.
cabaret. 'Cause they
AJ
think
hasn't
it's
watched
rude.
cabaret.
I mean, they're not going to let Charles have anything fun because he did a chance with Rocky Horror Picture Show and he bottled it, so he's not going to get anything
Yes.
Well, he's doing a rumba, so. Well, like they always go back to Chicago,
fun. Yeah.
and they like. Stacey and Kevin have got a Les Mis going on.
What are they gonna do?
I have no
They-
idea.
I don't know. Right, I'm now blanking at the soundtrack of Les
Like,
Mis.
they're
Okay.
not gonna do Master of the House, are they?
A Charleston to Master of the House. That sounds very Kevin, actually.
It does sound very Kevin.
Oh.
But they can't do like a lot of the lyrics for Master of the House.
Yeah.
Master of the House is not clean.
Is there an Argentine tango potential, like something quite martial
Yeah.
that they could?
There's Black and Red, isn't there?
Oh, let's stop messing around. It's going to be a Viennese Waltz to On My Own.
Or that other one.
Anyway, we're
Yeah.
not talking about Stacey and Kevin just yet. We were just about talking about Charles and Karen still.
They could do a run to This Is the Moment.
What's that?
That is from... Oh, what musical is it? I'm going to have to look quickly.
I did like Karen's dress. Well,
Yes.
Elliot's Googling.
Oh yeah. Karen's dress was fabulous.
It's from Jacqueline. It's from Jekyll and Hyde. This is the moment. This is the day where I send all my doubts and demons on their way.
They don't normally go obscure for musicals. Like I feel like when they went for Once, that was the most obscure musical I've seen them do.
Or
Yeah.
the Rumba to Greece, which was terrible last year.
But at least
That
people
wasn't
know,
obscure.
People know what Grease is.
True. I don't know what they could do.
Whereas Once is one of those films that I keep sort of pressing the DVD on people and go, "You must watch this. It's marvelous." Very sad, but marvelous. Anyway, yes, musicals week. Another, like, it feels like we've only just unbraced after Blackpool and we're already going into
know.
brace musicals.
How bad is it though? It's the quarterfinals and we're only just getting a male rumba. That is shocking.
Yeah, well, I blame Couple's Choice
Yes.
and the general quality of the male contestants this year. Right, let's just do a quick lightning round. Rank the 4 themes. Music, movies, Halloween, Blackpool, musicals. Best to worst. Elliot.
Blackpool,
Yeah.
Halloween,
Yeah.
movies, musicals.
Ooh. Okay, Emily.
Musicals, Halloween, Blackpool movies.
You like Musicals Week?
I like musicals in general, and
So in theory, you like Musicals Week?
I like the theory of Musicals Week more than I like
Emily,
the
Emily.
actual...
Every year you enjoy being bitterly disappointed by Musicals Week. Let's be real.
I mean, I love being venomous when it goes wrong.
Vicky?
I'd go Halloween, Blackpool, musicals, movies. Movies at worst because there's so damn many of them at that point.
Anne?
I think I'd have to go Blackpool first, Halloween second, movies third, and musicals way down fourth. I'm not a big musicals fan, so that would be down there. Yeah. I don't mind the odd musical song, but I'm not always thrilled that they bring the narrative of some of the musicals into them.
Yeah, I think I'm going Blackpool, Halloween, movies, musicals. Yeah, so let's let bygones be bygones and let Charles and Karen go on to do their Musicals Week rumba for better or for worse. Dancing the salsa and getting forcefully ejected from every pool hall within 45 miles of Elstree, it's Lauren Steadman and her partner AJ. This was so awkward. So awkward. I mean, it is a good thing that this was in the same show as Joe and Diane's Couple's Choice, otherwise it would have been the most awkward thing on the TV.
Ever.
I don't know. Like, I don't really want to launch into it because Lauren's clearly trying hard and she's sort of at the limits of her ability to learn to dance.
Yeah, she's really trying. She's really, really trying, but this dance just did not suit her and did not suit her skills. And the one thing she just needs to do is just make sure that she's pointing her feet. And I think half of the problems would dissipate because her feet were just awful. And don't even get me started on all the faffing on, off, round, on, off the table.
Yeah.
Table dancing.
You don't need a table.
Right.
Yes.
If ever you're thinking about putting a giant table into just a regular dance, ask yourself
You don't
why.
need it.
Because maybe the true table is inside you and you just need to let it out.
Indeed.
That was oddly poetic.
Well, you know what I mean, though? Like, you might not actually need to stand on the table to give yourself the pizzazz you need. You might just need to work on your technique a bit more.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Fair
I agree.
enough.
Yeah. Vicky.
Yeah, I really, really like her, so it's paining me to see her kind of not get better. But yeah, the feet and the legs were really bad, unfortunately, and she doesn't really have any kind of flow for this sort of dance, so it was all a bit car crash.
But I like her. Yeah, I can still hear you. But we like her and we want her to do well. And that's why it's so awkward seeing her just sort of only get a couple more % out each week.
Well, I'm not even sure she's getting that, to be honest. I think she's peaked with was it the Walsh she got 34 for?
Yeah.
And I think we've had her best days, and I think if she gets through Musicals Week, it'll get to a point where it's actually a little bit awkward that she's there. I think
That's really sad.
in the same way that they've laid into Graham the last couple of weeks.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's the judge's way of saying you shouldn't be here.
Yeah, you have
Time-
now
it's
outstayed
time
your
to
welcome,
go.
pal.
And I really didn't like how she got Tret in the Lindy Hopathon.
No.
I really didn't like that.
From the few glimpses I got of her in that, though, she did look a little like she was struggling with it, unfortunately.
Yeah. Oh, Lauren, but you survive another week.
Yeah.
Like, so she was top 3 in the public vote.
Definitely.
Yeah.
She's got a fan base which is pulling out for a week after week.
Yeah, they've both got fans.
We got a little tweet from a listener when I asked questions about AJ's voting base, and Natasha says she voted for Lauren this week. I wasn't fussed on the partnership at the beginning, but I think they really gel well together now. She's got a great positive and tenacious attitude, like most athletes on the show, and like. I was wondering whether people were voting for AJ or not, because, you know, we've found AJ difficult to get on with, but I think people are voting for Lauren and for her attitude.
That's fair enough.
Yeah, I think
Like
so.
she's been quite steadfast, hasn't she?
Yeah.
I mean, she's kind of come from nowhere, really, because even before Strictly started, she wasn't one of the most famous, you know, athletes or para-athletes out there. So she's kind of come with a very niche fan base and following. And actually, I think she's kind of grown in the competition, and we've got to know her. And I think people are voting for her. Obviously, AJ's got his niche of fans, but I think definitely people are voting for her.
Absolutely. And on you roll to Musicals Week. Dancing the Paso Doble and joining some sort of incredibly flamboyant biker gang, it's Stacey Dooley and her partner Kevin. Now, I judged this routine twice. I judged this routine, first of all, with my lizard brain, with the part of myself that is impressed by pyro and loud music and things. And my instant reaction was, oh my God, that is incredible. Do it again. Please do it for another 2 or 3 minutes. I can't get enough of it. It was amazing. But then I went away and thought about it for half an hour. And I don't know what Stacey did in that routine.
Stood there while Kevin grabbed her skirt.
Yep.
Which
She
you
was
couldn't do today. Like in the first step where Kevin like walks behind her and just grabs the skirt. I was like, you could not do that anywhere else but Strictly, could you? You would
was
get a
a-
slap.
Passive element, really, wasn't she?
Yes.
And like on some of the fast steps where they were pivoting around, she was just being hoiked around, and you could sort of see her going woohoo,
Yeah. So quite unbalanced at times.
trailing him, yeah. And there were times where the just incredible rendition of the Brian Setzer version of Malaguena managed to cover up the fact that Stacey was like just sort of stomping.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I really liked it. And I'm going to call it fridge logic. Fridge logic is a thing in science fiction where you're watching something and you're entertained and you're like, oh, I enjoy all of these sensory stimuli and I feel very excited by everything that I've seen. And then you go away and you get like a cold can of beverage out of the fridge and you go, wait, but if Captain America did that, then how did Iron Man... And wait, Superman couldn't have been there because he was also there. And so that was a real fridge logic routine for me. I enjoyed it on a sensory level, but I think if you'd asked me to mark it as a judge, 5 minutes later, I would have gone, no, there'd have been no tens.
I agree.
haven't rewatched it. I haven't rewatched it
Emily?
yet. I've only watched it that one time because I've been busy. So
Yeah.
I'm going to test this.
Oh, are you just going to go? Right, okay, we'll talk to everybody else while you go and watch it
Yeah.
again, because you're still really excited about it, aren't you?
I'm going to mute
Okay.
it. I'm going
Right,
to mute.
We're going to live burst your bubble.
Okay.
Okay, Elliot, what do you reckon?
It was alright, but again, it's just what we've been saying in that it all was pretty to look at, but what does Stacey actually do? And the answer was, Not a great lot. She looked great, and she would be the perfect, what's the word? Lady of the manor to have the servants and everything, because she looks great to stand there whilst everything is happening around her. If you know what I mean. But she had to start getting tense because they want her in the final, and if she didn't from this week on, people were going to start saying, oh, she's just the extra add-in for the final. They had to make it believable that she's going to be there in 3 weeks' time.
Storyline-wise, it's important that Stacey gets 10s at this point, otherwise, like, what's to separate her from Lauren?
Yeah, I mean, I do love Stacey, and I want her to win, but it's getting harder and harder to say that when I'm being more honest with myself. But it's like, but other people are improving and dancing better, or they're being given more to do. Like, if you look at their routines, like, since, like, she did a lot in the jive, but since then she hasn't had to do a great deal, or the samba at least, she hasn't had to do much choreography-wise. So
she's had to do a lot of hold on, keep up.
Yeah, so I'm intrigued for when she makes the final what dances she's actually going to redo, and what the judges ask her to redo as well. Like, I think there's going to be a lot of earlier dances where she had to do dancing will come into it, and I think that would be very interesting.
If Stacey is going to get to the final, she has to do an American Smooth, a Charleston, an Argentine Tango. But she's got to do, like, 2 out of those 3. And those will all test her individual skill rather than just her skill at partnering Kevin, and that's where she might struggle or where she might fly. Anne, I don't think you liked this one, did you?
I didn't like this. I'm even talking about it right now, I can actually feel myself shaking. I found this real sensory overload. I thought the music was really overpowering. I thought the lighting was quite dark and ominous. I thought their costumes were too dark, and I just thought the whole thing was erring on the side of being too aggressive for me, and it just didn't float my boat at all.
Normally, Kevin's passos are quite trad. But I think this was like a burn the floor passo, wasn't it? Rather than a sort of...
Yeah. Did we learn anything about Stacey this week?
No.
Yeah, I don't really remember what was in her VT. No. Oh well. Vicky, let's have you on Stacey.
Hello. Yeah, I thought there was a very telling comment from one of the judges. I can't remember which one, but someone said, Kevin, you made her look so good, which I thought was, you've seen right through what he's done.
The illusion is shattered.
So that's, how dare you? And I mean, I know when I've been on this podcast, like I've said, I don't really find Stacey that impressive, and I still don't. And I'd like to, but she just doesn't have the core strength that, you know, someone like Ashley does, to pull off the moves as well. And if this was strictly like 10 years ago, you'd have Arlene Phillips telling her to go to a ballet class, but it's not, and we have Shirley. So that's where I am with Stacey. It's kind of all Kevin being the puppet master, I think, with his hopefully engineered winner. But I also think
it's not going to come off. Joe's Televo is standing there between Kevin.
I know. He's going to be runner-up again.
It's too delicious.
Yeah.
So, Emily, have you watched it now? Do you see what we mean? Yeah, it's all smoke and mirrors, and mostly smoke.
It's like impressively done.
Yeah.
I admire the televisual arts there. But she does a nice bit of skirt flapping.
The flamenco hands are quite good.
Yeah.
But she was clearly not keeping up with him on the pivots, and the only thing that was hiding that was the fact that the pin spot was very narrow.
Yeah, there was actually not that much content that she had to do.
That song was an absolute banger.
Oh, yeah.
Because I was enjoying the music so much, I didn't really notice the quality of the dancing. So them's the breaks, I guess. Shall we just let's have one-word reviews of the Lindy Hopathon and associated chaos. Elliot.
Chaotic.
Emily.
Unnecessary.
Anne.
Madness.
Vicky.
BAFTA worthy.
Surely Oscar worthy.
It's just immortal. It's just beautiful. Bruno, the voice of reason. I never thought I'd see the day.
I just think you could actually hear the wheels coming off, like the silence and the tumbleweed as they realised what was happening and they had to say things quickly. Just gold. I just watched it. Only watched it quite recently, like this afternoon. It's still quite fresh. Me revelling. Yeah.
You could see the red lasers coming on in Tessbot's eyes.
And
Kill
Tess
mode.
just broke down completely, and Claudia was left to like handle this situation.
Yes.
It was
Well done,
amazing.
Claude.
She's like grabbing the desk.
I don't often suggest that people go to improv classes, but Tess really ought to join an improv group.
Just to get a bit
Just,
of a...
to be prepared for when
Some
the
one-liners.
humans do
Yeah.
the unexpected things. That
Yeah.
is the big problem with artificial intelligence. It's all right when the humans are behaving in patterns, but when people do weird things like step out in front of cars or are like walking backwards or lose their scores on live TV, AIs do tend to struggle with that kind of situation.
Yeah, the sense
Not
can't
that I'm
keep
saying
up.
that Tess is an actual robot.
We're just saying that her normal presenting persona is so slick and professional.
That it is indistinguishable from an AI. Yes, so Frock of the Week. Let's have some nominations. Elliot.
Karen, because it was so traditional ballroom dancewear. I loved it.
Emily.
I love the colour of Karen's dress, but on balance, I'm going to go for Faye's.
Ooh, Anne.
Oh, do you know what? I've forgotten about Faye. Oh, that's ominous, isn't it? I was trying to go through all the couples and thinking who I can. Do you know what? No, I think I'm gonna. I think I'm gonna stick with my first one, which was Karen. That colour was amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. Vicky.
Yeah, I'm going to throw a vote to Karen, actually.
And I'm going to say Karen because that green is just so striking. It reminds me of Natalie Gamedi's show dance, which is my favourite dance ever.
Oh yeah,
For better or for worse.
Remember that?
So Karen wins Frock of the Week.
Yay!
Yay!
That's her first one of the series.
Ooh.
So that was the post-Blackpool lull. So thanks for being with us throughout this absolute chaos. Good night, Elliot.
Night, night.
Good night, Emily.
Good night.
Good night, Anne.
Good night.
And good night, Vicky.
Night night.
Good night, everybody. I've been Ellie. Keep dancing.